feel like people are looking for options and possibility, and they don't necessarily want to strike out on their own, or at least maybe not right away. But they would love to find some kind of third approach, which is what a side hustle is all about.
Can you really launch a side hustle in less than a month? Find out in today's episode. Welcome to the Couple Money Podcast, the show where we share stories and advice on building up your marriage and wealth together. I'm Elle Martinez. Support for this podcast comes from Jumpstart Your Marriage and Your Money Masterclass. This self-paced course is designed to help you get on the same page with money, dump your debt faster, and build wealth as a team. Sign up today for the course and get lifetime access. Just head over to couplemoney.com/jumpstart. One of the biggest objections I get for not saving more or paying down debt is we don't have any extra cash. And that makes sense. If you don't have that money, it's hard to pay down that debt or build an emergency fund. Typically, when we sit down or I chat with couples, there are a few ways we can look at their budget and save some money on expenses or maybe negotiate better deals with certain bills. But sometimes it's not just a spending issue, it's an income one. After spending 40 hours or so working, most people aren't necessarily looking to take a second job and being tied down to another fixed schedule for so-so pay. So is there a way for you to earn more, maybe on the side? Perhaps tapping into one of your talents. And what if that income stream can give you a margin or a buffer so you can finally grow your emergency fund, knock out some or all of that debt, and maybe explore a new career? How would you feel then? Excited? Thrilled? Ready to go? Or are you a bit skeptical and tired of hearing the hype you see online about the miracles of side hustles? Let's be real. If it honestly was that easy to drum up an income stream, most people would be all over that. However, that doesn't mean starting a side hustle isn't doable. It does mean you have to be smart about the process, about the time you invest when you're launching. Today's guest, Guillbeau, is here to share his expertise and story. In this episode, we get into why a side hustle can be a wonderful option, the process of starting one in less than a month, and why and how a sustainable side hustle can also help you build your legacy. Let's begin with the first part, why side hustles can be a better fit for you than just getting another job or becoming a full-time entrepreneur. I don't know if it's just the two of you, or if you have little ones, or not so little ones in the house, but when you have a family to support, that steady job with benefits is appealing. You may want to earn more, but a second job can take away time from your family for however long you need to earn that margin. And while launching a full-blown business sounds like fun, who wouldn't want to be their own boss? Starting and running a business is not only a huge time commitment, it's also investing money which you may not have right now. Even if you have a fantastic idea that looks like it could take off, there is no guarantee. No one wants to be stuck with a heavy load of business debt. But a side hustle, that can be the best of both while minimizing risk. I think, though, we should be clear on what a side hustle is.
So I would say it's an income-generating project, ideally one that you're not just trading time for money. Ideally, it's something that you're creating that at least has the potential to earn money for you while you sleep. And I'm always very careful about, using those phrases and talking about passive income, because most people who have passive income, they tend to have done a lot of active work, to create it. But still, there's a big difference between going to a job and clocking in for your part-time second job and making something that then people pay for, on their own.
Chris has never been a 9-to-5 guy. He's been supporting himself through side hustles, and when he first began, it was a bit rough.
You probably make a couple disclaimers. First of all, it wasn't strategic. It's not like when I started The Art of Nonconformity, 8 or 9 years ago, I had this roadmap and this plan of how everything was going to develop, because I definitely didn't. Second disclaimer is I really like projects. I like starting things. I really enjoy, I get a vision for something and I really want to invest my time in it. not really into the whole minimalism kind of thing of let's really pare down. I keep adding to my life, and I do that because I enjoy it. I feel very fortunate to have this life. So those are the two starting points.
But through the years, he kept refining and found a system that made it much easier to succeed. And that system is in part the reason why he wrote his book, Side Hustle, From Idea to Income in 27 Days.
And as to how it happened, I think it was a blend of my own vision and my own message of how I wanted to develop the art of nonconformity, and then $100 Startup and some of the projects that came later. But also a very good portion of it was just like that story I told about last year. Everybody was asking me about side hustles. A lot of it was kind of in response to my readers and my community that kind of cropped up along the way. And with $100 Startup, for example, I noticed there were all these materials being published about startups in the traditional sense. And I kept running into people all over Middle America and elsewhere around the world for whom they were doing some kind of entrepreneurial project, but it had nothing to do with a traditional startup methodology. And so I kind of called them accidental entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. And I felt like nobody was really catering to them, and nobody was really writing for them and publishing resources and things that would be helpful for them. So I kind of focused on them. And a lot of that, kind of came over the next 5 years as well. I had the quest to go to every country in the world. So ended up writing a book about quests. So it's this combination of things I believe in, things I'm excited about, and then things that, seem to resonate with other people.
As with anything worthwhile, there are challenges when creating a side hustle. A few of the big ones include finding a profitable idea. Just because you're in love with it doesn't mean your future customers will be. And speaking of which, you have to identify the right customers and clients to serve. Otherwise, your business is bust. And of course, you have to create the product, but that's just part of it. You also have to market it properly when you do the launch. And once it is launched, you have to make sure you refine so you can improve the results. You miss a step, and at best, you're eking by. Well, more than likely, you're not going to make any money with your side hustle. You look at the whole process, and it seems like it's just even difficult to sort, which is why Chris designed his new book a certain way.
Another frustration point I noticed that a lot of people are like, oh, yes, I want this. I totally am convinced of the value of this in my life, but I'm really busy. I don't have a lot of time. I don't want to go down 5 different roads or 10 different roads and then not get anywhere. I want to know what do I do? Step 1, step 2, step 3. So that's exactly how I wrote the book. Basically, it's a 27-day plan, 1 step per day, spend 20 or 30 minutes on each step. And you can, of course, work at your own pace. If you want to work faster or slower, that's fine. But the idea is here is a process that you can follow. And I did that basically in response to the, what I was hearing from people, that they needed that kind of process and structure.
Chris's book, Side Hustle, lays out those steps. I got an advanced copy, and I gotta say it's packed, but into doable chunks you can do each day. The first week is all about brainstorming several ideas that have potential to be profitable. In the second week, you'll narrow it down to one and identify the ideal customer it serves. In the third week, you're creating the product, pricing it, and taking care of other back-end business like a website and payment system. You then launch in the fourth week and review your results and refine them accordingly. Chris has done his homework, and besides the book, which is really a great step-by-step framework, he also launched a podcast this year that dives into the world of side hustles.
There was not a lot of education out about it. Most of it was, as you said, quit your job, take a risk, jump off a cliff, etc. Or there was kind of misconceptions about what a side hustle actually is. And so I was trying to show people here's how you actually start an asset, and create something that really earns money for you, which I know you talk about a fair amount too. So that was the kind of the impetus. And I was like, well, I really want to go all in with it. I've dabbled in lots of stuff before, and I really wanted to commit to something for this year. So that's why I started the daily podcast, Side Hustle School. That's why I wrote the book, Side Hustle, getting ready to do a 100-city tour. Really just kind of focused on anything I can do to help people with this concept.
The Side Hustle School is a daily look at the diverse projects and income streams people are creating and running now. There are episodes about people selling candles, hammocks, food products, gin kits, guitar lessons, you name it. But even more than earning income, the two of you might want to sit down and talk about what impact your side hustle can have. Can it be an opportunity to not only help others, but also but also make a big impact in the community.
I think that's also the whole point of intentionality. You're just trying, at least for me, I can speak for myself. I'm just trying to do something that interests me and that it's helpful to other people. Like, those are my two criteria. And I feel like as long as I keep following that path, a lot of what I do inevitably is going to disappear, just like everybody. But I'm hoping there's this small percentage, this small little fraction that, ends up sustaining or being enduring. And it doesn't have to be in a famous or public way, but for somebody who's listening or somebody who's reading, it makes that lasting impact in their life. But you don't always necessarily know in advance, at least I think, you don't necessarily know which aspect of your work is going to fit into that category. So you have to just kind of try a bunch of different stuff.
Thanks again to Chris for being a part of the show. You can grab his new book, Side Hustle from Idea to Income in 27 Days at all major retailers. And if you want to hear from others who are running a side hustle, please check out Chris's podcast, Side Hustle School. As always, I have all the info, details in the show notes, along with resources to get you two started. Just head over to couplemoney.com. Speaking of earning some extra income, I'm offering a free email course to help you boost your income. It's called 5 Days to 5K. It's launching Monday, and it will walk you through how to save, find, and, yes, make more money. Hopefully you can use that money to pay down debt, grow that emergency fund, or maybe have it launch your own side hustle. This free course is done all through email. If you want to be a part of it, you can sign up at couplemoney.com/5K. And if you haven't subscribed to the podcast, please do. It's free and easy. You'll get the latest stories and tips on building your wealth together sent to you. We're out there on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Overcast, and more. You can also grab the feed off our site so you can listen to the show from whatever podcast app you prefer. Our theme song was written and performed by Gentle Regime, additional music by Lee Rosefair, and Music for Makers. Finally, I want to say thank you. Couple Money Podcast is made possible because of incredible listeners like you. Your tweets, reviews, likes, and more are so encouraging. Thank you so much. If there is a question or a topic you want to hear covered on the show, just let me know. I hope you have a great week. Take care.